I know that it's been asked before, but are anime characters white? With the amount of Black people who are into anime and manga, and the prevalence of the contributions of Black culture to these art forms, I wanted to delve into a conversation that comes up often, is usually contentious, and that may not be being had fully. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you know whenever we drop new content. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we can continue these conversations and explore the radical Black imaginative tradition together. Visit the website to sign up for emails with more information about how we're moving. And lastly, if you so choose, support our Patreon so that we can garner virtual but also actual space for continued education and imaginative community building. All links will be provided below the video. So, race and anime characters. Why do so many anime characters appear to be white? To be honest, I feel like this is one of those conversations where Black people are routinely gaslighted and disciplined in a particularly anti-Black way. One thing that is often said is that we are forcing our concepts of race on other countries. Imagine telling Black people, who globally have had all of our various nuanced identities subsumed by the qualifier Black, that we are forcing our conceptualizations of race onto other people. We are told that these characters are Japanese or belong to fantasy worlds and are understood to be such in Japan, and that certain markers are often used when the characters referenced are supposed to be white. This is a question that many people have sought to address. However, the question that people have done videos and written articles to answer is what phenotypes, nationalities, ethnicities, worlds do anime and manga characters embody or belong to? What Black people are responding to when we say that anime characters are white is what we feel and know we are seeing. Anti-Blackness, which asks a different question. What race do anime and manga characters not want to be? Or rather, who is left unimagined in the creative spaces in which these characters are created and the worlds they live in? Moreover, what are the drives or desires that fuel this exclusion? In order to answer this question, we have to talk about a very important concept, one that either never gets mentioned or whose full implications are never just laid out plainly. That concept is Mukokuseki. Many people will say that it is an art style, but as defined by Koichi Iwabuchi, it is more of a Japanese mode of engaging globalizing processes. So while it can apply to art forms, which is what we'll be discussing, it also applies to cars, electronics, and other consumer goods produced by the country. Mukokuseki means stateless. And in the case of the arts, it means that there is a deliberate effort to remove what could be considered racial or ethnic markers from the characters. Not only is the idea to create universally appealing characters that anyone can relate to, but it has been part of the reason that anime and manga has seen so much success in America. Anime like Astro Boy and Star Blazers had to undergo very little editing precisely because they already fit into what appeared to be Western aesthetics and racial hierarchies. While popular YouTube videos that seek to answer the question as to whether or not these characters are white would have you believe that Japanese people see these characters as Japanese, one video that asked several groups of Japanese people to look at various anime characters and derive their nationality provides a very good look into the truth. On one character, Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell, the answers were as disparate as Holland and Thailand. Mukokuseki seeks to eradicate race, nationality, and ethnicity, which should also mean that any overt Japaneseness would also be eradicated for those that say that the characters are Japanese or are understood to be so. And so we see that Westerners aren't the only ones who have a hard time identifying where these characters are from. However, what is incredibly noticeable is the complete erasure of anyone who would be considered Black. So then the question we should be asking ourselves is not whether or not anime characters are white or Western. For me, the question becomes, why is it that when the universal human or that humans that belong to and represent the people of the global community are created, that it defaults to features that head away from Blackness. Another question may be, if Mukokuseki is supposed to provide a sort of universal template so that consumers can relate to the characters, who is the imagined audience? Who exists globally? You know, there are those of us who say that Blackness is perceived globally as slaveness, that we have a humanity that is always up for negotiation or manipulation in non-Black people's hands, that to be human in any kind of concrete or stable way is to be non-Black. And most people don't want to hear that because it doesn't feel good to hear, because they want humanity and can't imagine that there are other ways of conceptualizing personhood. I get that, but it shows itself. Just recently, there was a campaign by OpenSea which says that it is the largest NFT marketplace called Metaslave, wherein an algorithm created randomized faces to be bought as slaves. All of the faces were of Black people, men and women, and the first slave to be sold was a Black child. When they got called out for Anti-Blackness, they changed the name to MetaHuman, but the Black faces were overtaken by faces of color and white faces. Y'all, it does us no good to try to rescue or explain away Anti-Blackness. Not only is it everywhere and in everything, but everything that we know today was born out of it. Anti-Blackness calls on us to ask different kinds of questions. The question that we need to be asking of anime is not how the Japanese see these characters. That's clear. There is no consensus on the nationality, race, or ethnicity of many of them. The question I'm asking is if Mukokuseki, as applied to manga and anime, is purposed to give a look to the universal and even fantastic human or humanoid. And if this modality of creation comes out of a desire to engage in a global world, who must be excluded for that project of inclusion? To me, the answer is clear, and this video doesn't even touch on the problematic depictions of Black people in anime and manga. As always, I want to end with some questions or challenges to all of you creatives and imaginative folk out there. With artists like Aaron Magruder, LaShawn Thomas, and Arthur Isom contributing to the genre, should we contribute to the genre or create an aesthetic that centers us, or both? And if we were to create a unique comic and animation style, what would it look like? As always, I want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to leave your comments below. Also, please share, like, subscribe, and visit our website and Patreon to get updates on how we're moving and to support us in building Blackly Imaginative community.